so excited. We're the Hallmarkies podcast, and I'm Rachel, and Amber's here.
Hello, everybody.
And we are diving into another Hallmark original series. We're looking at the latest season of The Good Witch. Recruited one of our Twitter friends, agreed to, Georgia Speech from Twitter. Georgia agreed to come on our show and be our Good Witch co-host for this season. So we're really excited. So Georgia, why don't you introduce yourself to the podcast?
Oh gosh. Okay. Hi. My name is Georgia. I am a huge Hallmark fan, and I love Hallmarkies podcasts, and I love Good Witch. And I was super, super excited to be asked to be the correspondent for Good Witch. And I don't really know what people want to know about me because I just love Hallmark a lot. And honestly, it's what I talk about like most of the time.
Yeah.
And I love, In Sync, which is important.
It's very important.
It's
Georgia
important,
and I first became best friends forever over our shared love of NSYNC, and then, which obviously and naturally progressed into our mutual love of the Mickey Mouse Club. So, what are you going to do?
And it's important. I mean, yeah.
Priorities.
You can't deny that kind of connection. Yeah, of course.
So when did you start getting interested in Hallmark films and television?
Hallmark, I think it was 2012. Yeah, because I got super into Bride for Christmas and Winter Wonderland. And I was just like, I was super into it. And I had never watched them before except, A Carol Christmas with Tori Spelling. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Georgia, we know that one.
I know you know that one, but they don't show it a whole lot, so
Yeah.
I watched that when it was originally on, and so I was some little kid watching that movie, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I love this movie, and I didn't know where to find it for probably 10 years, and then 2012 rolls around, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are these movies? And I just got so hooked just right away. Yeah. And there was a whole lot going on, and I just ended up kind of watching Hallmark movies instead of doing maybe more important things because it's so fun. It's so easy to get just completely sucked into them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It really is.
I would make the counterpoint that there is nothing more important than watching Hallmark movies.
Obviously. But like I had like college stuff to do and everything, and like I said, okay, but there's a new Hallmark movie on, so I'm going to watch that. And my niece was about a few months old, and I was like, okay, she's crying, but I need to watch the Hallmark movie that's on now. So,
I completely understand. You just were making the right choices, and society might not have understood, but you were, a pioneer.
You're so right. You just get it, Amber. Get it.
So, have you been You've been a Good Witch fan from the start? You always enjoyed Good Witch?
Yeah. Oh, actually, I got into it on the first season finale, which was probably a really poor choice because I just said, oh, okay, I'm going to see what this is about. And I watched the last episode, and of course, it's torture because then it's a whole other year until you get to watch it again. So I had to catch up on everything and try to acquaint myself with it. So I got some of the movies, watch the movies, read up on it, and then from season 2 onward, I've just been a Good Witch enthusiast for sure.
You took the same approach that I had. The Signed, Sealed, Delivered. I watched the most recent one first, and then went back. It's a pretty good way to go.
It's just like such an irresponsible way to do it because then you don't know what's going on. But yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I approve. So cool. Okay, well, so we're going to talk just briefly. We're not really going to talk that much about the movies here. We're going to talk about the. We might do a separate thing maybe and talk about the movies, but we'll just briefly talk about them. So there were 10. There's been 10 movies in total, and the first one was in 2008, so it's 10 years, which is pretty amazing. And if you guys want to learn more about, The Good Witch and all things Good Witch, make sure you listen to our interview with Catherine Disher that posted this week because I think, honestly, is one of our best that we've ever done. She was just the best. So definitely check that out. But she talks about the experience of the first movie and just the experience of 10 years with the same cast, crew, everything. So it's pretty remarkable. and so Amber, have you seen all of these movies?
I have, yes. So yeah, I've seen all the movies, I've seen all of the shows. I'm pretty good. But honestly, true story, I had only seen Good Witch Spellbound until like a month ago, and then I caught up.
So what did you think of the movies part of it?
The movies were pretty fun. I didn't love a lot of the plot lines, like the guy who was like trying to steal Grey House. Okay, guy. But for the most part, they're pretty fun. I do think that I like the series more than I like the movies because there's an arcing storyline, and of course I binged all the movies. So it was like watching a show where nothing happened. Really? I mean, like Jake and Cassie got married and all that stuff, but that's about it. That was the arcing storyline. So, whatever. But I really like the series more. It also gives Martha a little more time to shine on the TV series, and # Martha is queen. So I love the series more than the movies though.
What do you think, George, about the movies, of the ones you've seen?
I like them, obviously, because they're Hallmark movies. But I do prefer the series. I like the movies because they're just they do have a charm to them. They're easy to watch, and they're nice, and they're always positive, which you like. But the series, I think it does have it has more of a, I don't want to say like a kick to it, but it just kind of it gets you hooked, I think, more easily. And so I can see why they made a series off of the movies, but then to actually prefer the series, I think is pretty cool because I don't know, I really look forward to it every year. I'm really excited when it comes on.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the series until Spellbound came on, and then I watched the series, and so I really enjoyed the movies. I looked forward to them every year. But I have to say, now that I've been able to compare the two, or every so often that they did one, now that I'm able to compare the two, I do think it works better on an hour format. The movies do feel a little stretched out. They get a little slow at times. So I think that the pacing is just a little better for a 1 hour personally. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. We're going to dive in and just talk about the characters of the Good Witch here. And the biggest change from movies to series is that Jake, played by Chris Potter, couldn't be on the show because he was busy in Heartland. Mm-hmm. And so they had to kill Jake. Very
it was really sad.
Yeah. And props for Bailey Madison because she did a really good job, I think. And basically sort of the family layout of this series, you have Jake, who had 2 children, Lori and Brandon. And you do see Lori in season 1 in the Halloween movie, and you see Brandon played by 2 different actors in the movie / series, and he's in the series, and so we'll talk about him. And then you have Grace, who is so those are both Cassie's stepchildren, and then you have Grace, who is the daughter of Jake and Cassie. And then the other family is George, who is the father of Jake.
No, he is not actually Jake's father. He is Jake's father-in-law. He was the dad of Jake's first wife who died, which makes Grace calling him grandpa bananas.
That's totally wacky.
I forgot that. Yeah. So that's sort of the family structure we got going on here. But what do you think about that, about Jake? And I guess do you think that did you miss Chris Potter at all from the series?
I obviously probably had the least amount of experience with him going into it because, I mean, for me, like, sure, I had 7 movies with him, but it was like 2 days. So I was like not that attached. And so I didn't really miss him too much. I mean, it's obviously really sad that he's dead. And I think they have done a lot of really nice things, especially with Grace, where like, you know, she's moving on with her life. She's having a happy life, but she'll have those moments where, but my dad's not here. And so I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Appreciative show. But I like that we're able to explore that. It gives Grace and Cassie both, frankly, a bit of a depth that they probably wouldn't have, which helps, I think, makes this TV show better than the others. And I'm just going to go out on the record, and people can hate me if they want. We got an excellent upgrade for Brandon from that kid who was Brandon. Come at me, Matthew Knight lovers. But to be fair, Matthew Knight was like a kid who grew up to be like a teenager-ish kid. And then like Dan Jeanette, or however you say his name, is like a man, and I love him. So I mean, in his defense, they weren't fighting fair there. But I do have to say, I miss Lori a lot. I loved that she was in the show, and I liked what they were doing with her character on the TV series. So I'm kind of sad that they dropped her, and I hope that in the future she can like come back for a guest episode. But
Georgia, how do you feel about that transition?
I think if I had been more into the movies beforehand, I probably would have been way more upset, because starting it off that way, it was so harsh, and it was sad to see them obviously go through that, especially Grace, because she's all little and stuff. But yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, I prefer the series in that way too. I like the relationship with Sam, and I think it gives it an interesting kind of perspective where they're both single parents and everything. And I don't really know what they would have done if Jake had still been around, honestly, because they had the build up to Cassie and Sam was how many seasons, you know?
Yeah.
And so that ended up being such a huge part of the storyline. But then there was also so much else going on. And I have no problem with Jake. Obviously, I like the movies and everything, but I love the series the way that it is. But I do think if you were into the movies beforehand, it probably was way harder to watch it originally to see Jake not there, because that was sad.
Yeah,
it was really sad.
You just blame Heartland. I mean, it's all Heartland.
I know, he wouldn't leave.
I mean, frankly, I blame Heartland for a lot. So mostly I blame Heartland for being Heartland.
What problems do we have with Heartland?
Oh, I just think it was like crazy boring. But like, to be fair, I didn't get past the 4 episodes. But in my defense, they should have given me something to be interested in within those 4 episodes.
You know, that's true.
But we can talk about that in our Heartland episode. But
no.
Oh my gosh, make her watch it. Make her watch the whole thing. There are how many Sorry.
See, the thing is, like, for me, if I watched all 11 seasons of Heartland, I'd be like, so now what? Because I am, like, you know how people are like, I ran a marathon. It's like how I do extreme sports. Like, my extreme sport is, like, binge watching. Like, I could out-television anyone.
See, there's very few things that I like binge watching. I think the 24 is like the best show ever to binge watch. There's a couple ones like that like have all these cliffhangers and stuff. But for the most part, I don't know, just find it exhausting. It's not
like, I just feel accomplished when I finish watching a show. Like, I feel like I have done my part when I am the person who has like, haha, I watched all 11 seasons of Supernatural. There's now 18 more. Haha, I can do it. Like,
so let's backtrack a little bit, actually, and let's just talk about Cassie as a character.
Okay.
So we have Catherine Bell as the lead. She is the Good Witch.
Catherine Bell, Rachel's girlfriend.
And
not like, you know what I mean.
I mean, and they're
like best friends. Cassie is
really?
Catherine Bell is Rachel's best friend. They've never met or spoken, but they have this unspoken thing where
Friendship.
Rachel adores her and Catherine Bell doesn't know we exist.
I mean, it's like a classic friendship. Obviously.
Classic friendship.
I do really enjoy her, and she has had a storied career, right? She was on Army Wives for that show, which I thought was a pretty good show. She was on JAG, and that was a pretty good show, I think. And I know a number of other things. And she is the lead here. And what do you think of Catherine Bell here as Cassie, Georgia?
I couldn't see anyone else playing Cassie. I mean, I don't know. I actually haven't seen her in a whole lot of other stuff. So I kind of just think of her as Cassie, like it's the same person to me. And she's so believable and you trust her. Like you see her and she says something's going to be okay, or you'll find your way, or whatever advice she has. And you just go, yeah, Cassie, it's true. Like that person will find their way. That person will figure it out, you know? And yeah, I mean, I don't know how anyone could have any issues with her as Cassie, because I think Cassie's the heart of the show. And she's so kind and wise, and just her shop is so pretty. It's so pretty.
Oh.
And she works so much. I mean, she has a shop and she has an inn and she has a family and she has all this stuff that she's doing, and she's never like, oh, I need a day off. She works all the time.
Yeah. I mean, Cassie is who I think we all should strive to be, like someone who is super helpful and selfless, who's genuinely interested in other people's stories and their problems, and wants them to have like the best success and best life they can for themselves. And like, whilst doing that, she's like this very responsible, loving, caring mom. And like, this is going to be controversial, but I think maybe Cassie and Grace have the best mother-daughter relationship in the history of television. Come at me, Gilmore Girls. But like, but because you know, she's so responsible, but she's like wise, but they're still friendly. They still like enjoy having time with each other, and they are just like the best. I love them.
That Cassie is a really good listener. That she actually pays attention to her daughter and is interested in what she has to say, which definitely is not always the case with Lorelai. For sure.
Don't start on that one.
I like the Gilmore Girls just fine.
Yeah.
But I do think their relationship is really sweet here. And what do you think? They describe it on Wikipedia and everything else as intuitive charm as her magic. How would you describe? Does that capture the magic in your mind, Amber?
I mean, aside from her putting the whammy on the dog in the first movie, yeah, exactly. I mean, she doesn't even do, like, she's just like kindly meddlesome, frankly. It's like, that was how I would describe her magic, is just kindly meddlesome, because she gets up in everybody's business like the people of Hope Valley, except for she doesn't do it in like a pushy, like, I know so much more than you and do what I say and here's my kid and now you have to do what I say kind of way. Ooh, our haters gonna hate that. But she what she does is she says like, oh, interesting, I also really like flowers. You should spend some time looking at flowers. And then the person's like looking at a flower and then they think to themselves, yes, I have this epiphany about my own life. Like, she doesn't teach people the lessons. She nudges people into a situation where they will learn the lesson themselves, which is way more effective in the long run, and also the best.
Yeah. It's really sweet. Very charming. And yeah, she'll like have...
No pun intended?
Yeah. She'll have like a guy that she thinks should be with a particular girl and be like, so have you been interested in reading lately? And then he'll go down to the books and, oh, there's the girl, you know. It's kind of how
like the
version of magic.
Yeah, like the most overt she ever is like, hey, I have this supply, will you just drop it off for me? Thanks. And then wherever they drop off the supply is something, you know, they should do for their own benefit and good, but so funny. Right? It's the best. Like, and then obviously it's just so nice. And like every episode I'm just like, this is the kind of person I'd want to be. Just super kind and meddlesome. That is exactly what I want to be.
Yeah. You can be. You can, Amber. You can do it.
I mean, I could pretend to be super kind.
As long as you get that meddlesome part down, I mean, the kindness will probably just follow, you know? Probably.
It's too exhausting. Like, I have enough problems. I can't deal with other people's problems.
I'm like 100% a Martha. So, like, Martha's nice and all, but also Martha's kind of like, and I care about your problems and I want to help, but also I'm going to kick the crap out of Blairsville. Like, that's me.
Yeah. So let's talk about Martha.
Yes.
Catherine Disher has been on the show from the beginning. Her, from the very first movie, and also Peter McNeil, I think, has been in every one.
No, he was not in the first one.
Oh.
I'm fresh on this because I just watched them all.
Okay.
Also, okay, I do have to ask, do we have any idea, I know this is a sidetrack, do we have any idea what happened to George's wife?
Oh, yeah. No.
Do they never say? I'm assuming she's dead because they don't say.
Oh, didn't she like go visit her family or something somewhere? And then
well, in the movies, she visited her family one time.
Oh, you're talking. Oh, okay.
But in the TV show, she's just gone with no explanation.
Yeah, I guess she's just gone. That's true.
Something else to do. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah. So Mayor Martha, she is the highlight of the show, I think, at least for Amber and myself. Definitely for me. She's so funny. She's so I don't know, but there are moments of, you know, heart with her because she's just not all catty, which is so much fun. But I particularly liked in the second season her having to say no to her son. I think that storyline was really a big one for her character and showed a lot of growth for her. But she's just great. I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, her son was the worst, and I still don't believe that he's not the worst. Like, I don't know if it's fresh for you guys, but in the first movie, her kids literally spray paint and defile Cassie's shop and then break her windows. Oh, yeah. Like, her kids are the monsters. Plus, where's the other kid?
There's just the one.
Did the other one die off too with George's wife?
No, because they talked about it. I heard people talking about it during the last season. Oh no, I need to go back and do all the research and read everything because this has been discussed. And it was like, where's the other kid? And I don't know.
It's Michael. But yeah,
I mean, to be fair, maybe they are just bad influences on each other, so they can't be friends because they'll just, you know, vandalize another place.
Maybe. But yeah, Michael ends up getting married at the end of the season 3, and that was a lovely moment for her character as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's she's just great. I don't know. What do you think about Mayor Martha, Georgia?
Oh, she's hilarious.
Yeah.
The one when she lost her voice.
Yes.
You guys know. Funny. Oh my God. It made me so uncomfortable because I was like, she has to be able to talk. She just talks all the time. And it made me like super anxious for her because I want her to be able to speak. But I love the character development of Martha to go from not trusting Cassie, not liking Cassie, to now she loves Cassie. They're, you know, not best friends, but they're friends. And I just think that's really cool. It was a really, I think, interesting way to play the character. And the fact that she's Mayor Martha is just my favorite. I love it.
Yeah. And it's so funny because my first exposure was Spellbound, right? Where Martha's the mayor, and I'm like, she's just the mayor, and it seems so established. And then I go back to the movie, and they talk about Mayor Tinsdale, the first movie, and it's her husband. And I'm like, wait, what? When does she become the mayor?
Yeah.
And then I keep watching the movies, and then I'm like, Cassie's the mayor? What?
That's so weird.
And then now it's, great, and Martha's the mayor. And it just feels like this is the way it should have been the whole time. So I'm glad that they finally got there for the series, but it's really funny.
But I do love that laryngitis episode. It's so funny. I love the way that she's like angry at Sam for that.
Because she didn't follow his directions, and then she loses her voice. She can't talk at all. Oh, it's so funny.
And she said in our interview that that she had actually gotten sick that week, during the filming. So she was actually losing her voice, which was very, very funny.
So I went back and listened to it after watching. I went back and watched it after the interview.
Yeah.
And like you can hear in her voice that she is sick. So it's excellent. It's the best.
Yeah.
Maybe it is the best episode of the whole show.
Maybe.
It's my favorite for sure.
Let's say it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the wedding was really good. Because you got the proposal, and you have the wedding, which I thought was really nicely done. But I think that the laryngitis episode is my favorite for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then we mentioned Brandon, but he is married to Tara, who's played by Ashley Leggett, or Rebecca Dalton. This switches off. Anyway, in this last, they had a thing where they thought they were pregnant, and he was like freaking out, and then it turned out they're not, and then she was disappointed. He was excited, but then she was mad at him for being excited. And anyway, so they've had sort of conflict in their relationship. I don't know. You have any thoughts on them?
Not really. Like, I feel like a lot of their storyline is kind of lame. I get that we have to have it because he's Brandon, but I would be fine if, like, I just feel like we spend a lot of time on Brandon and Tara and their storyline of like, we're going to just try to have a baby, but not talk about it ever. But it's like our main story point is just not great or well handled. So, they can either choose to make it more interesting or have us spend less time on it, which is, I'm fine either way. I would really have loved it, though, if Lori were still in the show and we got to split focus between Lori and Brandon and see what's happening in Lori's life. And I know it's not possible. Plus, it would be weird considering Derek was like 20 when she was like 8. But I would have loved for Lori and Derek to fall in love, but it would not make sense, or it would be really weird.
Yeah.
The end. So it won't happen.
But I see where you're coming from. I totally get why you would want that, but like, it wouldn't have worked.
No, it would be like bananas. So no.
But I did
Maybe we could use some of it.
I did kind of like, though, the idea that, like, he feels like he's being honest about how he really feels, and that's, like, an important thing.
Yeah.
But, like, she doesn't like his honesty. And so, I don't know, as I'm not married, and so it's like, I sort of wonder to myself, like, would I want somebody to, like, pretend to not be excited to spare my own feelings, or do I want them to be honest about how they really feel, and then I have to deal with it? I don't know. Maybe he could be a little bit more tactful about it. Maybe. I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing, but probably a little too much time spent on it.
Yeah. And I think their best episode was the episode where they go and have dinner with the Tinsdales, and they learn that, like, you fight and you have to fight through it, otherwise it's over. That was a good episode for them, and I think it was one of the last episodes that they were in. So I'm hopeful that they can have a good arc in season 4.
Then we have Sam on the show, played by James Denton of Desperate Housewife fame, and he's the town doctor. And he's very hunky. I think that James Denton is definitely one of the hottest, 50 plus men. Like, he's a very good looking guy, in my opinion. What do you think, Georgia?
well, I will not comment on his hunkiness because I respect him as an actor. I'm not attracted to him. I get that he's, I have no problem with him. I'm not like, oh, James
But like
Dutton,
you're
I'm
a
not like,
child,
oh, like James Dutton.
Georgia.
I'm not a child.
It would be like if Lori were gonna marry Derek. It's inappropriate.
I'm the oldest on the podcast, so this is okay if I can say that he's hot. I just
totally,
respect him as an actor. I think both things can be true. He's like,
that's totally not what I'm saying. Oh, absolutely not what I'm saying. That's not my point at all. I'm just saying that's like, those are my only feelings about him, or as his acting abilities. I'm not going to comment on his his hunkiness, because I personally don't have any like like James Denton. Like if you're talking Colin Farrell, like I'm all over that. But like that's my cup of tea. But yeah,
fair enough.
But not so much the James Dettons, but I get it, and I love them together. I really didn't think I would like him. I really didn't, because I hadn't seen him I'd seen him in stuff, but I wasn't like a James Denton fan.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes on there and I was like, he's like annoying, like he's a little doctor and he knows everything. And then he starts kind of like warming up to Cassie's, advice and her knowledge and everything. And I was like, okay. And the two of them together are super cute.
Yeah.
And then when they end up together, I'm like squealing, because I really surprisingly like them together. I didn't think it was going to be my favorite thing. And the way he tries to take care of Nick, there's all the drama with the son and everything. And it was just, I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoy him on the show. And now I actually look forward to seeing him on there, which I didn't have a problem with him before. But like I said, I wasn't like a James Denton fan going into it.
Yeah.
And I like the character. I like the sort of conflict that they can have, where Cassie knows her stuff and he knows his stuff, and then they kind of have to come together and work together, and there's always a middle ground, except Cassie knows more, so it's fine.
I think they do have pretty good chemistry.
Yeah.
I agree with you. What do you think about Sam, Amber?
So I like Sam, and I really like their relationship between Sam and Cassie, and I like the relationship between Sam and Grace, and I like the relationship between Sam and Nick. So like, that's just like, boom, slam dunk right there.
Sam teaching Grace how to drive is the most hilarious thing ever.
Yeah,
it was great. My gosh, yeah.
But what I really like about the relationship between Sam and Cassie is, I'm not sure if that was necessarily the direction they were planning on going. Like, you'd think it would, because he was the star, but they have that whole like Ryan plot line and that Stephanie plot line. And then it was also, they were kind of trying to make it seem like Grace and Nick were going to be a thing.
Yeah,
so I'm very curious if like the writers went in, they wrote, and they kind of were thinking, Ryan and Cassie will be a relationship that we can grow, and Sam and Stephanie will be a relationship that we can grow, and then Grace and Nick can be a relationship. And then they finally were like, oh, but look at this good chemistry and banter they have together. So that I think they said, okay, so this is how we're going to go, because it's just following the natural chemistry and flow of the show, which I approve of.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. So let's talk about Grace, played by Bailey Madison. She had been in a number of Hallmark movies before this.
Yes. Bailey Madison is like one of my favorite human beings in the cinematic universe. Like, I've loved her since she was like a baby, basically. I mean, she's been
How far back are you going?
Bridge to Terabithia.
Oh, okay. Oh, you watched that. That's so bad. Oh my God.
But she was amazing.
I know, but it's just like
just tears. But she is so amazing. And then she was in like Saving Sarah Kane, and so like I feel like super invested in her career, because I've watched her since she was like a baby, and she is always good. So she does such a great job. And where I really fell in love with her, and Rachel's gonna hate it because Adam Sandler's in it, was in the movie Just Go With It. And Bailey Madison.
We're so best friends. Oh my God. Yes. Sorry.
I know, Georgia. We are best friends. Rachel hates everything that I love. Not everything. 95% of the things that I love, Rachel doesn't have an opinion on. But she is so funny.
Way more things that I love. Let's just get that out in the open. Like, the list of things that I love that you hate is way longer than the list of things that I don't like.
We'll make a list. We'll make a
not even close.
Do it.
Well, Georgia, I'm sorry. Sometimes Rachel and I fight.
And that is so false. But
I really love her in that movie. And then I think I think Bailey Madison has really like grown very nicely. I mean, I feel like she's making good choices as far as the movies and things that she's choosing, because they're not too troublesome, I think. Yeah. I would be really worried about her if she was taking on like worse movies. Because I feel like this is allowing her to go from being a very good child actress into being someone who can have a very good and sustainable career. And also, like, I don't feel like she ever had like a weird, not cute phase in her life, because she went from just being an adorable child to just being lovely. Like, way to have good genes, Bailey Madison. Yeah. Anyway, but as Grace, I get you. As Grace, I think she does a wonderful job, and she hits all of the nuances that she's supposed to, and she's really just growing into a little Cassie, and I love it.
That's true. Oh, that was so cute the last season when they realized how similar they are, and I was just like, oh, it's so cute. It's so sweet. It is.
If you want to see a super great early Bailey Madison performance, you should watch A Taste of Romance, which is one I love. And oh man, there's a scene in there where she's crying that I think will get the waterworks on anybody.
Yeah, and they haven't really used her, her powerhouse, which is Bailey Madison crying.
Yeah.
They haven't really utilized it in this show.
Yeah,
it just shows how many tools she has.
Yeah, there's once, I think in the pilot or maybe the first thing where she says, I have this intuitive charm, I have this thing, but how could I not know about Dad, dying and everything? And, and that's the only time I remember that she was really crying like that.
Yeah. And I think it makes sense, because you wouldn't, I mean, you might dwell, but Cassie's child would not dwell on things. Cassie's child would look outward and try to help people, and that's how she finds her joy.
Boom. But I also love when Grace teams up with Martha, like with the budget scene where they're trying to get the more money for the park or whatever, and Grace is like, well, we can do this and move things around, and Martha's just like, okay. That's really cute. Really, really cute. So then we have Nick. And he's played by Reese Matthew Bond, is his name, I guess. So this is Sam's son. And he starts out, he's definitely like this troublemaker. He's really upset because his parents got divorced. And then he you think that he's going to be with Grace, but then he ends up with Courtney and back and forth. And I don't know. Georgia, what do you think about Nick?
Oh, gosh. I think that he was a huge pain in the beginning. Remember, he was so mean to everyone, and he was causing trouble in that first season. And he was the library episode, and they got stuck in the library, and
he refused to give them candy, and it was
so
best.
Mean. Yeah, and I was like, "What the heck, Nick? Like, gosh." Grace isn't doing anything to you. Grace is a nice girl. I was like, anyone who's mean to Grace, I'm not happy with you. But then you find out more about him, and you get to know him, and you go, okay, like, I can see why you are the way you are. And I really was wondering how they were going to do it, if they were going to pair the two of them up and the parents, because I was like, that's just going to be weird.
That's just some weird Brady Bunch shenanigans right there.
Yeah, we're not such a great reference. Yeah, but I was like, please don't do that, because that'll just be super uncomfortable. And I really like the way that they've played it out, where now they're like brother and sister and they're best friends. And I hate that they're fighting. It bums me out, but I think he does such a good job of being angsty, but also being likable. Mm-hmm. I like him so much more now. I saw him in the last season, and I was like, he's just he's such a good actor. I mean, I knew that, but to see him, and then the fact that he hides his accent every week is also really impressive. Yeah. Because he has such a good accent. And it's nice. It's nice that it doesn't ever feel like he's acting. when you see him, it just seems like it's super believable that that's his dad and that he loves Cassie. I love his relationship with Cassie because she's steady and she's safe and she's always there for him. And yeah, I enjoy his character so much more now than I did in the beginning, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I don't even have to have anything to add. Nailed it.
Yeah, yeah, and I particularly liked in Spellbound the whole plot of him getting like lost and getting thing in the them looking for him. I thought that was, and him trying to scare his dad. Like that was a really cute, I thought, plotline.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's
sure.
fine for me. He's just a teenager. I don't know. Whatever. And
Rachel, if there's two things Rachel hates,
just write them off in yours.
Everything I like, and I'm kidding. No, we're not fighting that again. If there's two things Rachel doesn't really like, it's teenagers and weddings.
Yes.
So, frankly, that's why we disagree on a lot.
June Brides is going to be rough for me, but I'm trying my best. I just don't like whiny people that like are very selfish. And teenagers and brides tend to fit that mold.
It doesn't have to be what weddings are. Oh.
I really love to entertain. It's just something about like the bridezillas I can't handle. Okay.
Rachel hates people who have opinions that aren't hers.
So false. So false.
Don't all opinionated people though?
Word.
Oh man.
Word.
Oh well.
Like if we made a top 50 list of our favorite top 50 movies, I guarantee you there would be more on my list that you would hate than your list that I would hate. Guaranteed.
Oh my God.
We'll see someday.
Yeah. You know it's true. That's why you took the answer.
Just do it and see.
Yeah. Okay.
I love it.
Okay, so then we have a couple other characters that we have Stephanie, who played by Kylie Evans, and she owns the local bistro, and she dates Sam for a little while, and then she ends up dating handyman Ben, and she doesn't get along with Abigail, and the two of them bicker back and forth. And we'll talk about Abigail next. But do you have any thoughts about Stephanie, Amber?
I really like Stephanie. I think she's a good addition to the show. She was kind of useless, frankly, for a while there. But her storyline really picked up with the introduction of Ben, the perfect man. And I can't say that I love Ben more than her, but I do love Ben more than her. But their storyline together is awesome, and as long as they don't say "ouch," she's never gonna listen. So
she's a little ouch. Not now.
Not now. Well, she never was. But I really like their storyline, and I mean, to be fair, I like what Ben brings out in her, whereas before she was pretty one-dimensional, and she now has a little bit more depth, so she's more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I like the dynamic between Abigail and Stephanie. I think they're fun. I like that. What about you? Do you have any thoughts on Stephanie?
I love it. It's my favorite.
Let's see.
I think she's hilarious. Stephanie's always been super, super funny to me. I just think I like that she was always lighthearted. She didn't bring a lot of drama or anything.
Yeah.
But she and Abigail together are, I don't like to play favorites, but if I'm going to say they're my favorites, like those two together are so funny. I love it because they're so similar, but then they think that they're so different.
Yeah.
You know, they act like, oh, well, this one's really annoying. And it's like, it's only because they're doing the exact same thing you would have done in that situation.
I enjoyed Abigail too. Like she was brought on as kind of an antagonist character, I feel like, to like counter.
Yeah.
But then I feel like she's now just kind of a fun character. Like I really liked the whole plotline when she started the chocolates, that whole thing. That was fun. And she just keeps getting the episode where she's getting more and more flowers, and that was a good one, I thought, for her. I don't know. What do you think of Abigail, Amber?
Sometimes she really bugs. Not gonna lie.
She hasn't grown on you at all.
No, but she has definitely grown on me from the first movie. The thing is, like, a lot of times, even once we know, like, what's her goal and why she's being all weird and shifty, sometimes it still doesn't even make full sense to me, like, what her motivation is. Like, why is she even acting this way? And it's hard for me to like characters if I can't understand why they're doing things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very motivated person, so I need their motivations. Otherwise,
I think she just wants attention. A lot of it, and Cassie gets the attention, and so she that's kind of a lot of her motivation.
Wanting attention is not enough of a motivation for me. Okay. I need more.
A lot of the time, especially in the beginning, she was doing stuff too, but she was trying to help people, and she does it in the opposite way. I mean, she's such a classic antagonist, and that she forces people to change and grow in like negative way, not negative ways, but through being sort of the enemy. And she's not afraid to do that because she knows that eventually they're going to get to where they need to be. So she's not afraid to be unpopular to get people where they need to be and get them to do what they need to do.
Yeah.
And I love that.
It started out that way, but I think by the third season,
I think they're having to soften her.
I think by the third season, she really had almost dropped most of the antagonist side and was really just kind of maybe a little catty, a little, kind of a rivalry with Stephanie but I mean, Grace and her have a pretty good friendship, I think. And so she's just kind of become like a edgier version of Cassie in a way. So I enjoy her performances. Sarah is the actress there. And then you have George, played by Peter McNeil. And he's just kind of the grandpa figure. And then you did have Linda, who is Sam's ex-wife, and Gabriel Miller. And I love Gabriel Miller, but it's probably not my favorite role of hers, playing the ex-wife, trying to get back with Sam, which in the most like uncomfortable way that possibly could. That was not my favorite plot line.
Yeah, I was so super uninterested by it. That one point I was watching it and I rewound the episode like 8 times because there were a bunch of deer in the background and I was trying to count how many. Fun fact, like 8. It was amazing.
Wow, look at that. Good old Toronto, huh?
You're not serious. Did you actually?
100% serious.
Gosh.
I was like, Dad! Because my dad's the world's best deer spotter. I was like, Dad, come here. You gotta see this. There's so many deer. We spotted them. It was awesome.
Yeah. Nice.
Like, for real. Like, that's how interested I was in their storyline. No offense.
Wasn't my favorite. I agree. I don't know. But yeah, and then finally you had Noah Cap playing Derek, who was the chief of police. And I guess he's not in this season, which makes me sad because I thought he was fun. I enjoyed him.
I am devastated because he was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I guess you just, if you're suddenly the Canadian version of Chris Harrison and you're just too good for the Good Witch, whatevs.
Yeah,
it's too bad. I liked him. He's
the Canadian version of Chris Harrison?
Yeah, he was the host of The Bachelor in Canada.
Yeah.
That's what Catherine told us, at least. And she's...
Stop. He does all the food stuff. Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's on the Food Network, so...
I don't know why, but, like, just come be in one episode, Noah.
This upcoming season, we did find out from our interview with Catherine Disher that there's going to be a big twist, which is pretty exciting. And towards the season.
We don't know what the twist is, but she's such a tease.
Yeah. So do you have any expectations, Georgia, going into this new season of what you'd like to see or what you think you'll see?
I don't know that you're going to be super happy with my answer, but I honestly wouldn't mind seeing a wedding.
Mm-hmm. No, because
I want them to get married, obviously. Yeah.
Just like weddings when they're insufferable brides. And we know that Cassie will not be an insufferable bride. So I will like her wedding.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
I mean, to be fair, we literally have already
we have a wedding on the way.
Yes, I agree. That'll be really nice. That'll be nice to see.
I
think Abigail should have some more storyline.
Yeah, I'd like to see them do more with her character. I think that'd be fun. Amber, what
They
about you?
definitely had better payoff on the like psychic painter painting, because we still haven't seen the actual scene from the psychic painter painting where like Grace is yelling at Sam, at Nick, and Sam and Cassie are like sitting hand by hand but not holding hands. Like, we need to have that scene or I will be very mad. Because you can't just introduce some weird psychic painter guy and not pay off on it. That's just bananas.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you pay off on the psychic painter. That's just it's television 101.
Duh. Every show does. Yeah.
Season, we're excited to cover it. And let us know in the comment section what you want to have happen. What are you looking forward to? What you think of the show? And and on Twitter or whatever, we'll talk about it. It'll be super fun. And we're planning on covering it every week. And we'll try to live tweet as well. And it's just going to be a good time. Hallmark Channel, we have on Saturday, we have The Beach House, our Hallmark Hall of Fame entry for this spring. And you looking forward to that at all, Amber?
Am I looking forward to that movie? That is a loaded question. Am I excited to see Minka Kelly and
Chad
Michael Murray? Absolutely. Am I looking forward to a show that's going to be like Save the Turtles with the Sight of Love? I'm not positive. But like, I like turtles and I like love, so let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Georgia, are you excited about The Beach House?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I feel the same way, where the storyline is not necessarily something that would capture me from the beginning, but if you say Chad Michael Murray's in a Hallmark movie, like, I have to see what that's about. I do.
Yeah.
And like, now that Chad Michael Murray's on a Hallmark stable of actors, and Joy Lance, Bethany Joy, is in the stable of actors, don't we need a One Tree Hill reunion?
I got you.
Hey, you could have
on Hallmark.
You could have Hillary Burton.
Well, I mean, and Hillary Burton. All three of them. Don't make it be actually One Tree Hill. Just put all three of them in the movie together. The ratings would explode. Yeah. Candace Cameron Bure, eat your heart out.
With the three of us.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been blown away by what I mean, but I do love anything about the beach and the ocean is my favorite. So I'll enjoy at least for the scenery alone. I will really like that. And so we have that on Saturday, and then we have The Good Witch premiering on Sunday. So pretty exciting stuff. And next week on the podcast, we are going to be talking about Hallmark Hall of Fame. We'll talk about The Beach House and 3 other things that we haven't picked yet for Hallmark Hall of Fame that we're going to talk about next week. So make sure you check that out. And we also have next Monday, we have our interview with William Bibiani, critic and Hallmark fan. That's super fun. And we rank the Alicia Witt movies, all 6. And it's really fun. You guys are going to love it. And so lots of fun stuff coming up on the podcast and at Hallmark Channel. And thanks so much for joining us, Georgia, to talk about The Good Witch. And we're so excited to have you on board this season.
On Twitter and Instagram, I'm Georgia Speech, like the word speech, because it's supposed to be like peach, but I'm talking. So it's Georgia, like the state, and speech, the word, all one thing, no spaces or numbers or anything.
Great. We'll put that in the description section. And Amber, how can people find you?
As always, I'm at Amber Brainwaves on Twitter, and that's it.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews on YouTube and on iTunes. And I will be having my review of Avengers Infinity War probably on Friday. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel as well. It should be pretty fun. So make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod on Instagram and Twitter and all of their social media. And we are available on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, YouTube. We're available everywhere. So make sure you follow us. And thanks again. And we'll look forward to watching The Good Witch this weekend. Bye.